What's up, guys? It's Eric. Today we're going to talk about Kodak Ektachrome. Again, right on time. Kodak Ektachrome. If you're not familiar with this story, let's rewind, shall we? I initially talked about Kodak Ektachrome, I think like 3 years ago, because Kodak had announced that they were reviving their dead slide film Ektachrome and putting it back on the market. At the time, this was tremendously exciting news, and like a lot of people in the online film photography community, I was really psyched about it. But as kind of the time went on and as the delays started to pile up, I started to wonder, A, if it was ever going to be released. Spoilers, it was. And B, is this a viable strategy? Is this something that's really going to work for Kodak? For what it's worth, it seems like it has worked to one extent or another. Obviously I'm not privy to Kodak's financial information, but it seems like they've done okay with this, to the extent where Kodak and possibly some other film producers out there are looking at, maybe considering rebooting old film stocks and bringing those back because they have seen some success with it. So who can say? I'm just going to go on the assumption that this has worked to one extent or another. We're going to go with that in mind, and we're going to take a look at some Ektachrome. So right off the bat, what is Ektachrome and why did it take me so long to talk about it? So Kodak Ektachrome is a slide film. You process it in E6 just like you would Velvia or Provia. You get a transparency out of it, so you get a positive rather than a negative. If you have never shot slide film, I know I've said this a million times before, but shoot it, develop it, put it on a light table. It's going to give you a perspective on photography that you've never had before. It's a singularly incredible moment. Looking at a transparent positive on a light table, there's nothing like it. You're not going to get the same photograph out of a digital camera. You're not going to get the same image. Scanning that film and putting it on your computer, do it at least once just to see what it's like, because it is really cool. I promise. Ektachrome in one form or another has been around for like half a century. It's a very old film. I was sent some photographs taken on old Ektachrome and some that were taken on exposed to Ektachrome when I did my first video on it, and I saw some really cool stuff. Like, there were some really neat results with it. The film that Kodak has released is not that film. It is different. So what happened was, and part of the reason for the delays was that when Kodak went to start, rebooting their Ektachrome stock, they realized that, I don't know whether it was some of the ingredients that they used, some of the materials they used were no longer available or no longer available in the quantities that they needed, so they had to reformulate it. So the Ektachrome we get now, that you can order on B&H or whatever, is not the original. It's not even the one that was most recently available. It is different. The Ektachrome today is a 100 speed film, so it's pretty slow in the grand scheme of the modern photography world. You're going to want a lot of available light or some sort of external light source like a flash to get the most out of it. I reached out to some people before I shot it and asked, what do you guys think of it? Do you have any tips or hints on it? What I got from most people is that you're going to get sort of a bluish cast, much cooler look to the photographs than you would out of other slide films available on the market, and you want to shoot it with a bunch of available light. For that reason, I waited. I could have, when it first came out, it was like, I guess, I don't know, what was it, fall, winter, whatever. Things get pretty dreary in upstate New York around the winter months. So I waited, and I shot 2 rolls. I ordered 2 rolls, and I shot them over the course of about a month. I shot half of them in Arizona. We were out in Phoenix. We went up to Sedona for a week. Just kind of took a trip, vacation. So I shot about half of those out there, and then I shot the other half in the area, some in Ithaca, some in the Adirondacks, and I think I have a pretty good idea of how the film operates. What I'd like to do is go into some of the photographs that I took, show you guys what I've got. I want to just right off the bat point out that I scan all my photos on an Epson, a V700, whatever, a flatbed film scanner. It does not deal well with transparency film. This is something I've been wrestling with for some time. It doesn't deal well with positives, and I'm not sure why that is, but if you guys have any suggestions on a better way to scan those, I'm open to it, or a way to scan them more effectively on the Epson. So just keep that in mind when we look at them. I think some of them are going to appear a little bit crunchier or less well exposed than they actually appear on the slide. But yeah, let's take a look at some photographs, okay? So the first set of photos that we're going to look at here are from a trip to Ithaca that I took with my friend John. Now these are actually the second roll of film that I shot, the second roll of Ektachrome. The first I shot in Arizona. You know, I took 2 rolls total, so 72 exposures. Certainly didn't get 72 usable photos, but we'll take a look at what we got here. Now, I want to start with these because I think in general they turned out better. I think this is a film that really thrives in direct sunlight, in bright environments. I think it thrives maybe overexposed a little bit. I'd be really interested to see how this compares to something like Ektar, because in general, the slide film gambit is that you get a denser, less grainy film in exchange for that dynamic range, that exposure latitude, and it becomes harder to shoot. I think often, and this is just my own personal opinion, I think that often the look that I get out of slide film has a sort of digital look to it, and I prefer the grain of color negative film, but that's just me. So I'd be really interested to see how this stacks up in comparison. Now this isn't to say that I don't like this film, because I do, and I'm really excited to shoot it again and see what I can do with it. Part of the reason I'm looking forward to posting this video is I want to hear what you guys think. How have you used this film? How is it best used? What are the best results you've gotten out of it? I've seen some really cool portraits taken with it. Is it good for landscapes? You tell me. I'm really excited to find out. So based on my extremely limited experience with this film, 2 rolls, like I said, my suggestion would be shoot where there's plenty of light and maybe overexpose the film a little bit. Now that sounds weird to me. For slide film, generally you want to get that exposure perfectly right, box speed. But in this case, when I go through the photos and pick out the ones that I like best, I think almost without fail, they're a little bit overexposed. It handles it better than you'd imagine, and it handles underexposure just terribly. When you shoot something like Portra or Pro 400H, if you underexpose by a stop, you can usually save that image. It might not look as good as you want, but there's usually something there. With this, I've found that when you underexpose it, it's shot. Don't even bother with it. It's just not gonna work. On the other hand, when it's overexposed, maybe a stop, I think it looks pretty good, and I would recommend shooting it that way if you're not entirely confident in just nailing the exposure. The other thing that came up over and over again whenever I would ask people about this film is that it has a bluish tint, a bluish cast to it. You can definitely see that. I never found it, particularly distracting or problematic, but I can understand why it might be irritating to some people. So that's definitely something to keep in mind. But all in all, I think it's a really interesting film. I think it's a really cool film. I would recommend shooting it, and I will definitely be shooting it again and following up on this video once I have a better feel for it. And certainly, at that point, we'll have a better understanding of how to best use this film to really take advantage of it. So there you have it. Should you shoot Ektachrome? Yes, 100%. Buy some for 2 reasons. One, it is a cool film. If you've never shot slide film before, you owe it to yourself to shoot some. It handles skin tones, people really well. Go out, shoot it. It's a versatile, cool, fun film. 2, buying Ektachrome is a statement. It's a statement to the photography industry. It's a statement to Kodak. It's a statement to other manufacturers of film saying that, hey, this is a market that's viable. This is something I'm interested in. Make this stuff. I'll buy it. So buy some Ektachrome, shoot it. I'll absolutely shoot it again. I'm really anxious to hear what you guys think about it. I put some feelers out on social media and got some responses before I made this video, before I even shot the film. So I'm really anxious to hear what you guys think of it. So leave a comment down below. Let me think of it. Do you like it? Do you hate it? Would you shoot it again? Are you interested in shooting it? If you shot the old Ektachrome, how did the 2 compare? I'm really, really, really interested to hear what you guys have to say. As always, thank you so much for watching. You know the drill, like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you guys soon. I've got some new content coming shortly. I'm very excited. Maybe do another one of those 35mm projects. That's been a little bit. That's still a thing. I'll see you soon. Bye, guys. Stay safe. Hello?
Has caused you not to get the money you were supposed 1. I saw paperwork. I saw things that were delayed. Press the numerical button 1 now. We must rebuke this hindering spirit that has stopped you from receiving what is yours. Press the numerical button 1 now. Press 1. Even things within the family. Press the numerical button 1. Press 1 now.